Check out 3 ways to build an online audience for your business and why it's not optional. I'm going to go through these 3 things and give examples. But one of the biggest things I want you to know before I jump into them is why it's not optional. Oftentimes, businesses will have seasonal fluctuations of being really busy and less busy. And that's why it's so important if you're either building up your client base and your business, or if you experience some of those fluctuations, why it's incredibly valuable to you to start to, continue to, or expand on building that online audience. So without further ado, I'm going to share this screen and we'll dive right into it. So the easiest way to think about this is like marketing your business and promoting, and promotions don't always mean discounts, FYI, is really like gardening. It simplifies things if you look at it through that little bit of a lens. So to begin with, we want to always somewhat intentionally have in the back of our mind, hey, how can I expand my audience? Whether that means more email subscribers to an email list or a larger following on your profile or page on Facebook or Instagram, or more YouTube followers on your channel or podcast, whatever, right? So these 3 options are not an exhaustive list. They're just some ideas and are simple to implement for the average pet business owner. So first one being provide value. So with that, we're going to do either social media posts, blogs, vlogs, podcasts, a series of all of them if you want to. Social media often has all of these options within it where you can do video, short stories, which is kind of like a diary, almost like a video diary / photo diary, articles, etc. The simplest way to think about if you get stuck in the I don't know what kind of content to make for social media is you just want to do what you can to provide value, but you can look at 3 different frameworks. One is educate. So educational posts, maybe you're a dog trainer and you do a blog or a vlog or a podcast about, hey, here's the 3 mistakes people commonly make when they have a leash reactive dog that actually accentuates the problem. That can be helpful. And it also doesn't give away all your secrets. You're just bringing awareness to people to be like, oh gosh, I didn't know I was contributing to this problem. If you're a groomer, an educational post could be like, hey, your golden doodle actually might be matted underneath that hair. And this is what I would recommend on how to remedy that or prevent it. Remedy might be a shave, whatever. But that's an educational option. So another framework is entertain. So this can just be fun stuff. Anything from you just being silly, showing a cute photo of your dog with the garbage can lid over around its neck. I've had that, and it's just interacting with your audience. The third example is inspire. Inspiration could be sharing a story about your leash reactive dog that you made progress with and that there's still hope out there. So either way, it simplifies your content creation, thinking through one of these 3 frameworks. So it doesn't mean when you're posting on social media, it's all about selling. Lots of it is just about staying top of mind. And that's why I like the gardening. So with providing value to your existing things that you have platforms for, social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, etc., you can look through this particular lens of how to post content, which sometimes can simplify it. And then the other piece of it is like to the gardening premise is number 1 of providing value to your existing audience. It's going to help build your following by them probably sharing those trainings with other people. That's why it's good to do educate, entertain, or inspire, because they might share relative posts with their friends. Or as well, for example, like Facebook will show a certain amount of reach to non-followers to see if they might like your content. So that's another way you can get followers from just posting, providing some form of value. So with number 1, this is kind of back to the gardening analogy. It's like the soil and the seed. Now, when we talk about running ads to grow, this can be, now we've got the soil and the seed, these platforms that you're on. These are the fundamental basis. Well, when we run ads, this is almost more like rain, sun, and fertilizer. So you have a propensity to potentially build and that following a lot quicker with ads. Obviously, it depends on how well they're formatted and whatnot, but they do have the possibility of really scaling your following in a quick fashion. So this can be through, typically, if you're going to run an ad, it's going to be more related to, hey, join my closed Facebook group. Let's just say, like me, I have No Dog Left Behind, training and behavior consulting, brick and mortar business. I could run an ad, follow me on Facebook to get free tips on all your dog training common problems. And they might follow my business page. Or I could do a different one where I'm trying to get them to join my closed Facebook group, the Everyday Dog Training Secrets, where I post other stuff in there. So that could be an example. Another one might be to ads to grow is getting people to sign up for an email list, not just like my newsletter, but like an opt-in. And what I mean by that is, let's just say you trade something that they see as valuable for their email address. So you might have, here's my top 10 leash reactivity tips for the average dog owner on how to calm down those walks and start enjoying them again. I'm not saying that would need to be it or it would need to be that extensive, but that's an entry point where someone might be willing to trade their email address for that document so that you might be able to chat with them in the future. So ads help to do that. Rain, sun, maybe a little bit of fertilizer. Now, number 3, I should preface this actually the other direction. So my apologies. I'm going to take one step backwards. The providing value with these social media posts, sorry, I made a slight misstep, is actually more like rain and sun. So, whoops, you've got a couple of your ingredients, but not all of them. Now, obviously, you can still grow this way with rain and sun. It's not going to be as quickly as with ads. Now, with the third one, which this could be almost in reverse order, but it doesn't really matter. The third example is friend requesting and following. So, for instance, if you have an Instagram account, you can go and just look up certain things and areas and then start following people that potentially might be a future client that potentially could want to work with you. With Facebook, you could literally go to a closed Facebook group for your community about lost and found pets of fill in the blank community, and you could friend request people from in there. The point being is that's the seed and the soil. So if we don't have anyone following us, we can't provide value to them. So that's why this is actually the seed and the soil. And providing value, number 1, educate, entertain, and inspire, is more like the rain and sun to help that grow for itself. So like my recommendation is really being mindful to do all 3 of these at once. If you do all 3 of them, it's actually, and you don't necessarily have to do the ads route, that can just make it quicker. But if you do 1, 2, and 3, or 1 and 3, for example, it's kind of like a greenhouse growing operation. It can really create predictable results if you do it on a consistent schedule. So anyhow, that's where I want to begin to wrap this up, is just have you think about how could you systematically and consistently build up your following, because you want to nurture relationships with people in the future so that when they might need your services or they hear about a friend who needs them, you're going to stay top of mind because you're pretty consistent with how you post. They understand and they might have developed that no trust factor. And you just are top of mind when that problem arises where they're like, oh, I should reach out to them. So that's why gardening, once again, if you garden and at the end of the summer, winter's coming, we're not going to have a lot of food in the winter. Fortunately, it doesn't happen for us too often. We're in a time of the human existence where it's less of an issue. But typically, that's where you start jarring and canning all your fruits from earlier or vegetables, so you have some food for those difficult months. So that's similar of how you can think about nurturing these relationships is maybe in your typical slow months, you could do some kinds of a promotion to your existing audience. And I'm not saying that means a discount, but promoting some service that you could then fill out and you'd be like, oh, well, that was way simpler, because when you're doing this kind of a process, it's going to position people to be interested in your services in anywhere from 2 weeks to 3 months down the line. So that's why it's a really good proactive habit to not only do when you're starving and you really need some more clients, but to invest in implementing some of these exercises when you might be moderately busy or busy, Anytime's a good time to start. So if you're slow, obviously do it, but it's optimal if you're a bit busier. So just keep that in mind. The other benefit of what I'll leave you with is you can do all of these things with 10 to 15 minutes a handful of times a week. So it doesn't mean you have to become a full-time content creator. The reality is most of us are consuming a lot of social media content anyways. So if you just switch that looking at social media and invested that time into being a creator instead of a consumer of social media, you could actually spend the same amount of time or even less on social media, but just looking through the lens of I'm going to broadcast, I'm going to be a creator on social media instead of consumer, and then you're actually investing any additional time. If you'd like some more insight on that or a step-by-step plan, let me know. I might be able to give you a hand with that. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this and feel free to share it with anyone that you think might find value.